DataWrap subledger reconciliation utilities enable you to resolve any imbalances between your SYSPRO subledger modules and the general ledger. Any variances identified are shown at transaction level, and the DataWrap program provides comprehensive information on each variance, including the likely cause of the variance and corrective action guidelines. 10 subledger reconciliations are available in all, but all work in a similar fashion, so I'll be demonstrating the accounts payable reconciliation. You start by selecting the range of financial periods to reconcile. This can be any period from the beginning of the previous financial year up to the current financial period, but bear in mind that the history has to have been retained in SYSPRO for the results to be meaningful. You can see for how long the source data has been retained by selecting the Retention Options tab. This shows you the history used by this reconciliation, how long it's been retained in SYSPRO, and by extension what is the earliest period you can run a refresh on the data in DataWrap without the results being affected by purged data. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to select the current financial period. A refresh has previously been run on this reconciliation, but I'm going to refresh again to make sure I have the most up-to-date information. How often you are prompted to run a refresh is governed by a preference. The summary pane here shows the opening and closing balances of both the subledger and the general ledger for the periods you specified, along with any variance between them. The variance on the movements that have occurred during the periods specified is what needs to be investigated and resolved. The summary balances can be expanded to show the control accounts used by the module. This also allows you to see variance data at a control account level. This can further be expanded to show the branch using each control account. When you expand the movements, you can optionally show the entire reconciliation for a single control account as opposed to at company level by using these Show Details hyperlinks. Likewise, if some of your operators are only responsible for reconciling individual control accounts, you can select to exclude GL codes per operator. The whole reconciliation is then shown for just the control accounts that the operator is responsible for. The exclusions are shown here. The variance details pane here shows the movement variance grouped by the individual transaction type. You can then view the detailed transactions making up each of these values on the tabs below. When you right-click on any variance, you can call up our What Next facility, which explains the likely cause of the variance as well as suggesting a remedy. You can access the SYSPRO programs required to correct the variance directly from the What Next using these hyperlinks, or alternatively from the launch window. Having made the correction, you'll be prompted to refresh the data. Also from the right-click, notes can be added about individual variances, and where available, you can zoom on source and GL journals. To tidy up the reconciliation, any contravariances can be flagged as such and then excluded from the recon altogether. To flag a variance as a contra entry, right-click on the applicable variance and select Contra Entry. This opens a Contra Entries window. You can continue to add entries to the screen using either the right-click or by double-clicking on a variance, but you can only save the group when the variance total for the group is 0. These entries are then shown crossed out on the individual tabs, but if you prefer, they can be excluded altogether via this preference. If I exit this program and call up the DataWrap Reconciliations at a Glance program, this enables you to see at a glance whether all your SYSPRO modules balance to your general ledger. For each module installed, the module's current period balance is shown, along with the balance of the GL control accounts for that module, and any variance between them is shown in this column. This is the same as the closing balances on the summary pane of the individual recon. Any timing differences due to unposted GL journals are shown separately in this column, allowing you to focus on the actual differences without first having to post all the journals to the GL. The values in the adjusted variance column need investigation, and you can call up the applicable reconciliation directly from this program via the hyperlink, by right-clicking on the module, or using this button. Data for a single module can be refreshed using either this button or by right-clicking on the module. Data for all modules can be refreshed using this button. It's also possible to refresh the data outside of working hours when the data is not being used by valid SYSPRO processes. Information on how to set this up can be found in the installation guide that accompanies the product or via the online help. Information about when the module was last refreshed is shown here. You can also set up a trigger, such as an email, that can be sent in the event that a non-zero variance exists against a module, or if there are GL journals that have not been created or posted for a module. As I mentioned, the product comes bundled with online help, and each reconciliation also has a reference guide that can be downloaded from our support site. The subledger reconciliations are available for SYSPRO 6.0, SP1 and later. We offer a free 7-day trial to potential customers who would like to see the product working on their own data. Please contact us for more information on our free trial, as well as our various licensing options. Our reconciliation products do not update SYSPRO tables. We extract data from SYSPRO into our own tables and work with it there. I hope this demonstration has been informative. Thank you for watching.